Hey guys, this is Mark and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to use a recycler view in Android Studio. A recycler view is more of like an optimized version of the list view. We will make a very small project like this one, so you will learn how to use recycler view and create your own list from scratch. Now, if you're new here and you like this kind of videos, click the subscribe button now. Let's start by creating a new project, an empty activity. Let's type in people list demo package name. That's good enough. Make sure to select Java instead of Kotlin. Okay, for minimum API level, I selected API 23. Finish. Wait for this progress bar to finish before moving on. So our first step is adding the recycler view module to our project. We do that by double clicking this build.gradle file. Make sure that you double click this one instead of this one. Okay, double click it, and after the last implementation line, we add another implementation, but we don't know the text that we need to type in to include recycler view. We cannot just type in recycler view here. Okay, in order for us to know that text, that specific text, we head over to maven.google.com and then search for recycler view, and then this one, com.android.support, and then this one with v7, and this one. This is the module that we're gonna be getting or importing to our project. So in order for us to do that, copy this first line of text, com.android.support, paste it here, follow it with a colon, and then follow it with recycler view -7, and then follow it again with a colon, and then finally the version number. Okay, so this is the entire text that we need to type in order for us to import the recycler view module to our project. Now we need to click this icon here. It says sync project with Gradle files, so that the new module will be imported to our project. So after that, we now have recycler view in our project. So our next step is creating an adapter class. All right, so here in this namespace or in this package, we right click new Java class. We can name it as people adapter, and then our super class would be recycler view, and then tab dot adapter. Okay, so let's press OK, and then let's ignore this red line for now. Let's type in a new class inside this class called view holder, and it extends from recycler view holder. Okay, so there, and then right after this adapter, this word adapter, let's add open and close angled brackets, and inside this, let's add people adapter view holder. So we are referring this class, this specific class, in this line. Okay, so as you can see, there are two lines, meaning we have errors. So in order for us to easily fix this, right click this word adapter right here, and then generate, and then implement methods, and then press OK. So it automatically types in the required methods that need to be implemented. Okay, so this class, let's reorganize our class. Let's put it right here instead of at the bottom. And then same thing here, it needs a constructor. So right click, generate, but instead let's select constructor. Okay, So there are no lines anymore. There are no red lines anymore. Okay, so our next thing that we need to do is create another class. I click here, new and Java class. Let's name it people, sorry, person data. Okay, there's no need for a superclass. So this class will hold our values for our app. Like for example, for a person, we handle or we hold the name, the full name, the company name, and the person's picture. So let's create public string name, and then public string company, and then lastly public drawable image. Okay, so that's it. Let's head back to people adapter. Let's create a private variable that has a data type of list, and then inside this angled brackets, let's put person data, meaning this variable holds a list of person data. Okay, person data is our custom class right here. All right, so as you can see, the word list is written in red, meaning we haven't put its package right here at the top. Either you can explicitly type in its package name, or retype the last letter and then enter. Okay, it will automatically fill in for you, or type in the package name for you. Okay, so let's continue. List person data. Our variable name is people equals new list, new array list, and then semicolon. Okay, so in this line, we now have a blank list of person data. Okay, so our next move is create a constructor, people adapter, which will accept a list of person data. So let's put in people list. Okay, and then we'll accept an activity which we will need later on. Okay, also let's add another private variable which will hold the activity instance. Activity. Okay, now let's copy this people list to our own variable of people list. So in order to do that, people, remember this variable is our variable. Okay, people that add all. Okay, so we will add all the items from this list. Okay, so let's copy this and then paste it here. Okay, next we will need a copy of this activity to our own activity. But if we type in activity equals activity, it might be ambiguous. Okay, the compiler won't know if which activity variable you are referring to. So in order for it to be clear to the compiler, we can use the word this. Okay, so that activity refers to this variable. Okay, this activity here is referring this one. Okay, so let's continue. Inside this onCreate view holder, this will be called when the list view or the recycler view gets initialized. Okay, so each item in the list is also a layout. Okay, so in order for us to do that, in order for us to return a layout for each item on the list, we first need to make that layout. Okay, so let's head over to res folder, and then under layout, let's right click, new layout resource file, and then let's name it as item underscore people. Okay, and then so this won't be a screen layout. It's just this is just a layout for each item. So for in order for us to visualize it more easily, click this button, and then click custom, and then let's roughly shape it like an item on a list. Okay, so first let's add an image view. Give it 80 dp as its width, and then 0 dp as its height. No, for now let's give it 10 so we can easily see it. And then let's give it a background color so that we can easily see it for now. Okay, so in order for this to lay out correctly, click and drag this button here, this circle, and then drag it at the bottom edge of the what do you call this, layout or screen, and then do the same thing here. And then finally the left circle here, click and drag, but move it far from the edge first, and then bring it back so it can easily detect that you're click and dragging it on the edge, since it's already on the edge. So it's a neat way to, you know, to make your life easier. Okay, so now we have a valid layout. It's just that our height is not as we expect, so make it 0. There you have it. It will follow the height of the what do you call this, the screen or the layout. Okay, so why didn't the background reflect? It lacks another 0, so FF0000, so RGB. Okay, let's make it a little bit wider, or let's make this a little bit shorter. There. Okay, so another next control to add is a text view, and we select wrap content. Wrap content meaning the dimensions of this control will depend on its content. So let's put a content, for example, name, full name, okay. Then let's change the style to, we can retain that. Let's change the text size to 18 sp. Okay, and then let's click and drag this left circle to the right edge of the image so that it will align, and then the top circle of the text to the top circle of the image view so that it will be aligned as well. Now it is touching the image view, which doesn't look pretty. Let's just, where is it? Let's just, there we have it. I think I mistakenly click and drag it and it didn't get registered. So right now, as you can see, margin start has been added after I click and drag it at the edge of the image view. So we can change this to widen the spacing between the two controls. So for example, let's use 12 dp. Yeah, that's about it. And then let's copy and paste this text view for the company text, but let's delete this first. Delete these 2 lines, and then let's change the text to company. Okay, And then we do the same thing, but this time click and drag this top circle of the company control and drag it at the bottom of the full name or the name control. And then same thing here, but we can click and drag this to the left circle of full name, so it will be aligned with the full name text. Okay, so whenever we move full name to the right, it will be aligned. But right now, as you can see, it's somehow indented because we have an 8 dp of from the left. Okay, if we change it to 0, it will align perfectly to the to this control, to the full name text view. Okay. What else? So the top this one, the top circle is not, I think it's not anchored correctly. Oh yeah, it is. So it has margin top. We can oh, this should be 0, and then we can add some spacing between the two. So let's make it 10 instead of 8. There we have it. For the overall layout for this entire white area, this is the root control. We can we can change the height to 80 dp, or that's too much, that's too short. Let's make it 100 dp. There we have it. So this is basically the height of each item. This spacing below will be ignored when we use this for in our recycler view. Okay, this is just for visualizing or for editing the layout. Okay, so let's add another control checkbox just for checking if the controls in each item really do interact with inputs on the device. Okay, so let's just use wrap content, and then I think that's it. Oh, so gravity center, just to make sure that the checkbox is in the center of its control, and then we drag the right circle to the right side of the layout, the bottom circle to the bottom side of the layout, and the top side to the top edge of the layout, so it gets centered. Okay, so that's it for this layout. No, actually we still have something to do. We need to name each item that we need to fill out later on. So for the image view, we can we already have the name for the image view, which is image view. For the full name, let's change the name to the txt name. And as you can see, there are 2 red lines here because we changed the name. So in order for us to fix this, we just need to change those names as well. For the company, there's no name, so we can add one. Let's name it text company. There. Okay. Image view, text name, and then text company. So that's it for our layout of the item that will be displayed in the recycler view. Okay, so we can close this now. So our next step would be creating that layout for each item on the list. So this is the function that we will be doing that. First, let's create a view holder. No, it's just view. View v equals activity dot get inflator. So we inflate the layout. Inflate The resource is our that layout that our name, the name of our layout is item people, this one, then comma, and then view group as its parent, comma, and then false attached to root, right? So we now have our inflated layout. Next thing is, let's create a view holder, this one. So view holder vh is equals to new view holder, and it requires an item view, which we already have, this one, this letter V, and then that's it. We now return it to whoever calls this function. Okay. Now our next step is to get the controls in our layout, get text name, text company, and image view, so that we can populate it later. So we do that here in our inner class view holder. First, we create variables that will hold those. So it's an image. There's an image view, image. There are two text views for name and for company. Okay, so inside the constructor, we get those controls from the layout. Image is equals to item view that find view by id r dot id dot image view. This is our name. Same goes for the other two controls. Item view that find view id by find view by id r dot id dot txt name. Then we can copy and paste it to make it quick. Text company, and then change this to company. Okay. Just to explain this, just to make this a bit more clear, so right here we inflated our layout. Okay, so imagine this layout has been created, and it is now inside this variable view. Okay, now after that we created a view holder, and we passed that variable v. So that value, imagine it a single instance of this layout, will be passed on to this constructor, right? So that value will be on this variable item view. Okay, and then we have this class has three member variables, and we are getting the values from this layout. As you can see, item view that find view by id, and then we refer it by its name. So basically what happens here is this image view will be referenced, or will have its instance will have a copy on this variable. Okay, so everything we do with this variable will reflect on this control. Okay, in other words, if we change the text in this variable, in this name, it will be reflected here. Okay, so our next step would be telling the user of this adapter how many items will be displayed on the list. Okay, this will depend on this list, this people list, right? So we copy this, and then we return its people list that, sorry, my mistake. This is a local variable. Our member variable is this one, people. As you can see, private list people instead of people list. Okay, so here people, copy it and paste it here, dot size. Okay, if the size of our list has, sorry, if our list has 5 items in it, the size would be 5. So it will return to whoever calls this class, or to whoever uses this class, a number of 5. Okay, which in this case RecyclerView will use this class. Okay, so this is done. The last step would be populating the layout. So we can change the text, change the image, or change the background color, whatever we want to do with it. Okay, so here we can have the view holder, which has the image, the name, and the company variables. And then this I is the position in text. All right, sorry, in the list. First, we want to know the data or the values for this index. Okay, so let's type in person data. Say data is equals to people. This is our list that get, then I. Okay, so if this value is 2, meaning we want to get the data of the third person on the list. Um, the reason why it's the third person instead of second, given that I said this is number 2, because the index starts with 0. Okay, so after this line, the value of this variable data, it will be the value of the, let's say, third people, if this is number 2. Okay, next thing we need to do is set the values of the control. For example, the name, that set text data that name. Okay, same goes for the other 2 controls. So the company data that company, and then the image, we have a different function for image, set image drawable, and then we add the data dot image. Okay, so that's it for this adapter. Okay, so we now head over to our main activity, where we will use the recycler view and the adapter. Okay, so after the set content view, our first step would be getting the data. If you have a database, get the data from that. For this example, we can just add, or we can just hard code the values for the list. Okay, so let's make a list of person data. Okay, let's add the package name by retyping the last name and then enter. Okay, and then let's name it list equals new array list. Okay, and then let's create person data p equals new person data p dot name equals what name, John Doe. Okay, p dot company is equals to Krusty Krab, and then the image, let's just use the added drawable in the project by Android. So get drawable r dot drawable dot ic launcher foreground. You can just add any image here in the drawable and then refer it here. Okay, if you have an image like, for example, profile pic, you can type in here r dot drawable dot profile pic. Okay, so after this, we add it to the list, add p. Okay, now we only have one item here on the list. We just need to add more in order for us to scroll the list. So copy this. As you can see, I didn't copy the data type since I don't want to declare it again. We're just reusing the variable. Okay, we're just changing its value and then adding it to the list. Okay, So this time our name would be Maria. And the company would be what? Bakery at the corner. Trouble, same thing. Let's copy and paste this again. Maria, George, um, Hamilton, and then the company is the IT guy. And then about let's just copy and paste this to make this quick. Let's just add numbers. So 2, 3, 4. Same goes with the company. 2, 3, 4. So that we can easily see if the data is indeed unique or is indeed based on this list. Okay. Right. So now we have the data. We just need to copy or send that to the adapter, and the adapter will be used by the recycler view. Okay. So first we need to create an adapter, a people adapter. People adapter equals new people adapter, and it requires the list, which we already have, list, comma, an activity. So just put in this, type in this. Okay, we now have an adapter. Next thing we need for our recycler view is what we call layout manager. Okay, so layout manager, mgr, new linear layout manager, because we want our list to be laid out as linear. Okay, instead of a grid based what do you call this, grid based list, sort of like that. Okay, so the first parameter that is needed is context, which is this, comma, the orientation. You can type in vertical, because we want our list to be vertically scrolling. And then finally, what's the final? Reverse layout? No. So we use false. Okay, we now have our layout manager. The last thing we need to do is get the list, the recycler view list, and then apply this adapter. But right now, we still don't have the recycler view control, right? So we head over to activity main. As you can see, we still have a blank screen. Not actually blank. We have this default text. Okay, so let's just delete this. Add in recycler view. Okay, as you can see, it's available. Okay, if you skip the first step here, the adding the recycler view in the build Gradle, this won't be available. Okay. All right, so let's remove this because it okay. So let's remove this and change it to just a /. All right, so for the width, we can use match parent. For the height, we can use 0 dp. Okay, and then let's move here, click and drag this to the bottom, and then this one to the top. Okay, and then margin bottom, let's change it to 0 so it's completely flushed the edge of the screen. And then margin top, let's make it 200. No, too much. About 150. Yeah. Okay, 150. And then we name it, we put an ID. How about people list? Okay, now let's add a title. Let's add a text view, a wrap content, another wrap content. Text is people's list, and then text size would be 25 sp, and then style, text style is bold, and then the last thing we need to do is lay it out. Click and drag this here, and then click and drag this. No need to click and drag that at the top, since we are already anchored here. We just need to click and drag this left circle to the left edge. Okay, so that's it. We now have a title and our list. In order for us to easily see this list, let's put a background color. Background FF0000 to make it red, and then click this small square icon here so we can change its color visually. About that. Okay. Okay, let's try the app by playing it. I already opened up the emulator. Alright, so we now have our list, but we still don't have its content because we haven't set the adapter and the layout manager to the recycler view. Okay, so that's the last thing we need to do. Alright, so let me stop this. Also, I want it to be a full screen app, so we can easily do that by going to values, styles, and then change this dark action bar to no action bar. Okay, so let me quickly show that to you first. There, as you can see, there's no thick bar here anymore that says recycler people's list demo. Okay, so it's more clean. Right, it's cleaner. Okay, let's head over to main activity and set the values for the recycler view. First, we need to refer to that recycler view, which has a name of what? Of people list. Right, so let's make a variable. Recycler view is equals to find view by id r.id dot, what's the name? People's list. All right, so now we have the recycler view here on this variable. We set the necessary variables. Set adapter to adapter, since we already have that, this one, and set the layout manager to the manager that we just created. Okay, mgr. Right, so if we play this should work. There we have it. We have the list. John Doe, Maria, George Hamilton, 2, 3, and 4. So you can see the checkboxes are indeed interacting with the inputs correctly. Okay, the small feature that we can add is putting an alternating what do you call this? An alternating highlight for the item, so it can easily be seen when it's being scrolled. Okay, so let's head over to the people adapter, and then here, when we are setting the data for each item, we can determine if the position the recycler view is requesting is an even, has an even number or an odd number. Okay, so first we set a variable RGB of let's ask first if I modulus 2 is equals to 0, meaning if it's an even number, then RGB is, let's say, white. Okay, 255, 255, 255 is white. Okay, if not, let's make it quite off white. Okay, so about 240. All right. So if the position the recycler view is requesting uh, is is even, is an even number, the value would be 255. And if it's not, if it's an odd number, the value would be 240. So the last thing we need to do is set the background color to this variable, right? So view holder that item view. Okay, this is the root view. This is the, in this layout, item view is this one, the white background. Okay, set background color, color dot RGB. Now we set the RGB since white is 255, we just set it RGB, RGB, RGB. Okay, this variable is referring to this one we've just created. Okay, this value, again, this value has this variable has the value of 255 if this position or this integer is an even number. Okay, so that's it. Let's play it. And it should have an alternating difference in background color. As you can see, white, off-white, white, off-white, white, off-white. And that's it for using, for how to use a recycler view on Android Studio. I hope you got something out of this video, and if you did, please do click the thumbs up button and don't forget to subscribe.